You're a big Mel Gibson guy, right?
Oh, shoot.
No, honestly.
I just spit granola bar all over my spit screen.
Oh, yeah. Honest question. If you had watched this in 1979, would you have predicted that he'd become a huge movie star?
No, I don't think so.
No, me neither.
Obviously, Mel Gibson has a tainted current, like...
Well, that was my next question.
Right? Like,
would you have also predicted that he'd wipe all that out with a drunken anti-Semitic rant?
I know. I don't think I would have predicted any of the Mel Gibson trajectory after watching this in 1979, right? To go to the heights of fame after Braveheart, I assume that's like the peak of Mel Gibson.
Well, it depends. That's the peak of Mel Gibson. Did he direct that also? Hang on. I was going to say the actor, but if he directed it, then because I think a lot of people, The Passion of the Christ, heavily nominated movie, held in pretty high. Well, it was held in pretty high regard.
But wasn't that the start of the downfall?
The portrayal of Jewish people in that movie was, as I recall, a point of some discussion among the liberal media that you are endlessly plugged into. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that was sort of the start of the downfall. Could we have imagined any of that trajectory in 1979, particularly with the budget and scope of what this was? I can't imagine so.
No, I would agree with that statement. Welcome to Bad Movies and Beer. I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we are not here to judge Mel Gibson today. At least Nolan. No,
only his acting performance in this movie.
We're here to judge me. Because 2 weeks ago, I promised everyone that we were going to be talking Samurai Cop, and instead we're doing this, which was the original plan in the first place.
Well, and I feel like that's probably good for someone who requested this.
Yes, Ms. Vividly Foxy on Instagram.
Two
X's in Foxy.
How could you keep her waiting? We couldn't have forced Samurai Cop on her when she's had to wait this long for Mad Max.
Well, I guess. This is my fault. Like so many things this season. This has been the theme of this season, is me just fucking shit up. I fucked up Jingle All the Way at Christmas. I fucked up this one. It's just,
You're going to owe me a chug for...
Bullshit, I am. We're still settling that bet. That's not me. That's you. There's no Irish Joe in the Hammer. Oh. Somebody reached out and was like, I don't see an Irish Joe in the credits. And I'm like, fuck yes. Let's go.
How are we solving this? So we have to watch it back?
We're going to watch that scene back. It won't take long.
We got to watch that back.
We probably should have already... It's been like a month and a half. We should have already done it. But we're going to do it.
We're going to solve
Future
this.
Beer Chug loading for the guy that I'm talking to right now.
Oh, okay.
No, we are talking Mad Max today by special request, Ms. Vividly Foxy on Instagram. I've seen both sequels somehow, but not the original.
Wow. That's me, of course. Like 90% of the movies on this podcast, I had not seen this before.
Yeah.
I have actually seen most of the follow-ups. I think the weird part about this for me coming into it is I expected more of that.
Oh, well, that's not really fair.
Oh, I didn't know, though.
To hold that big budget modern day effects up to 1979 Australia?
But we would describe the modern Mad Maxes as like extreme post-apocalypse film.
Oh, you know what? Yes, we'll get to this in just a moment. But the post-apocalyptic part, you really can't tell it's there other than like the gang of kind of roving bikers. But it just kind of looks like you're just driving through the countryside.
Yeah,
like small town.
The roving bikers could have been a part of current real life, right? Like this was filmed in 1979 and it's going to open saying a few years from now. So this is supposed to take place like basically when we're born.
83, something like that.
Right around when we're born. And it felt like it could be in that place, not a post-apocalypse.
I agree.
But we got to, like we do every time, is we make a connection between the movie and a beer. And we've found one so that we're able to do this movie. What is it called? Do you want to let us know?
It's called Aussie, 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 AAA. Instead of oi, 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 it's the Canadian. We got a little maple leaf in the exclamation mark by the full Beard Brewing Co.
So you're going to laugh at me here. I didn't realize Mel Gibson was Australian.
Well, so I thought you were going to say you didn't realize this movie was made in Australia.
I didn't that either.
This is
I
like
had no
the kind of like landmark, like this opened the, not floodgates because of how much Australian cinema has made it this way, but this was like one of the first big like successes of Australian independent cinema to kind of cross over into North America / the world.
Obviously a good connection here. Aussie, 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 AAA, and an Australian-made movie. Everyone's got Australian accents. Takes place in Australia, post-apocalyptic Australia, I guess. They don't give us the actual location. Full Beard Brewing Company is out of Timmins, Ontario.
Northern, well, maybe not Northern Ontario in terms of exact geography, but north, like to us for sure.
Yeah, so most of the people in Ontario, population-wise, live like very close to the American border, like 90% of the people. This is like I don't know, almost 8 hours north of there.
Yeah.
I think Timmins is known as sort of like a mining community or
Okay.
like a major hub around a lot of the mining communities up north. This is sort of one of the bigger places. I have never had anything from the full Beard Brewing Company. They have a huge list of staples and seasonal beers on their website. Like, they must have had 15 staples of all styles plus a whole bunch of other stuff. So they are clearly making a lot of beer and making it accessible to people in Ontario.
Yeah, and I actually have tried most of the ones you're describing because they ship throughout Ontario, and that's how we got this. They have a couple of things in the LCBO, I think, are like local beer and alcohol distributor, but I found them to be kind of all over the place. Like, some of them sounded great on paper and weren't as great when I drank them. Others I was not excited for and was like really impressed by. But like overall, I would say of the 9 or 10 that I ordered, I probably legit enjoyed 6 or 7. And yeah, tasted them over a period of time.
Nice.
Really enjoyed a couple. I wish I could remember what they were exactly. I think there was like a rice lager was one of them, which I was kind of surprised they had a rice lager also, but it was pretty tasty. And they had a fruited sour. It might have been like a seasonal offering, and I want to say blue raspberry, but don't hold me to it.
Ooh, okay.
But I recall enjoying like those two for sure.
You got their hazy IPAs too, right?
So like I said, 9 or 10 out of the 15, didn't get everything, but no.
That's fair.
But this one though, what is this?
It's an Australian ale.
What does that mean?
Which is interesting. I'm not
Like a Foster's?
sure. No. I
It's
was
Australian for beer and all.
Yeah, well, that's fair. I'm thinking, and maybe I'm wrong, I don't know what an Australian is, but I'm thinking there are some hop styles that were popularized in Australia and New Zealand. So I'm guessing this ale uses those kind of feelings. It said, we made a fair dinkum Aussie frothy, then popped it in this tinny for you.
All right, well, I don't know what those hops would be, but the description on their website claims that this Bonza Australian Ale does, in fact, use some of Australia's finest hops and is a really easy drinking, so you can flat out like a lizard drinking. Is this page translated from a different language? I don't really understand.
Flat out like a lizard drinking.
This is an Australian blonde.
Oh, it's a
And
blonde
I
ale.
love blondes.
Well, both of us love blondes.
What?
The beer.
Oh, yes. Okay. I was going to say, if you listened to our Alone in the Dark episode earlier this season, you would know that that is not my preferred... well, we don't need to get into that. The point is, why don't we crack open this beer, get into this, and see exactly what we got here.
Let's do it.
After the MGM and American International logos, we get some of the most low-budget graphics you've ever seen telling us that Kennedy Miller present Mad Max. Other than the logo, which is actually pretty sweet, it's literally just white font on a black background, and it would be completely unremarkable except for the fact that one of the credited roles is Hugh Keays-Byrne as the toe cutter. So yeah, I already wasn't sure what to expect from this one, but now I am thoroughly confused and intrigued.
I assumed Toe Cutter was the name of a character, and I assumed he was an evil character.
Did you assume he'd be cutting off people's toes?
I did.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that was going to be it. Maybe he was a torturer or
Maybe it's an Australian expression that we don't know.
Very likely. Very likely. We should have probably looked that one up. So yeah, we break into those credits like you said. The title card cool, but the rest of it like pretty low budget.
I could have made better graphics in the time that we spent talking about this. Yeah.
We're getting a sense of the budget and sort of when it was made right away, right?
Yeah.
And that surprised me because of my familiarity with the newer ones, right? Like I didn't not have ever having seen the source material, I didn't realize that it was what felt like almost like an indie film in some ways.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, they might have got some support from like the Australian Film Board, but like, yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't realize that's what I was getting into. I'm not saying that that was bad, but this was sort of like I was readjusting
You were expecting
my
something
expectations.
glossier.
Yeah, right now it was sort of setting my expectations.
Again, I go back to Evil Dead. This reminds me so much. This and The Road Warrior back to back remind me so much of Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 is my yeah. Once the opening credits wrap up, we begin our story a few years from now with a few quick shots that are meant to set up our dystopian future. Well, not our dystopian future, it's Australia's dystopian future. And who are the first characters we meet in that future? A couple of officers in what is essentially the highway patrol, one of whom is using the scope on his sniper rifle to watch two people bang in the middle of a field. Sadly, this totally justified use of police resources is interrupted when the news comes over the radio that a cop killer is on the loose. These guys spring into action, and before you know it, we're into a full-on car chase. Get ready for weird Australian action, Noel.
I thought we were watching weird Australian action
With
through
the
that scope. Yeah, we already started with that, but we move into some new action as we get a hot pursuit.
Yes, definitely. What we quickly learn is that these officers aren't exactly the force's best, as they crash their car a total of 3 different times while completely failing to stop the killer. Another pursuit car and a motorcycle cop don't fare much better as they also crash, alternately wiping out an RV and old-time telephone booth, but luckily dodging a toddler who darts out into the middle of the desert highway while his parents are doing God knows what. That was a tense moment, and things are certainly heating up. But as we see in a minute, there's one member of the main force patrol that's cool as ice, and his name is Mel Gibson. He calmly asks about the damage caused to the other police vehicles, and the killer tells him,
Metal damage.
Brain damage, huh? Are you listening, Bronze?
I am the Night Rider. I'm a fuel-injected suicide machine.
I am a rocker. I'm a roller. I'm a controller. I'm the Night Rider, baby.
and Mel Gibson is just like, yeah, whatever, dude, as he coolly puts on his leather driving gloves.
This is quite the intro.
Right?
We are meeting all of the members of the MFP, which is sort of like the remaining police force in this area. They're pretty pervy or distracted in general. They don't seem super engaged in their like job or role. Everyone except for Mel, who seems like he's not going to take any shit, right? What I thought was weird was that both the cops and these guys were using the same radio signal.
Like
Like,
stole a cop car. He killed a cop and stole his car. That's why he's got it.
oh, so I didn't realize because the car is not labeled as a cop car. It just looks like a badass street car.
Well, that's what they got. In
Yeah.
most cases. A couple of the guys do have MFP stuff
Couple of
on
them
it,
have
but-
MFP stuff, but yeah, well, we know that Mel's got a badass street car, right? And
Well, he gets a better one later, too.
Yeah, we're going to see this very quick ramp up come into a lot of ridiculousness. But before we do, we get just some extreme action of pedestrians getting in the way of this chase.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say that you were surprised that both the cops and the criminals avoid hitting this toddler.
Oh, yeah, well, that is
Like
true.
the gang
yeah.
members seemed very concerned about hitting him too, so good on the Knight Rider, I
guess so. I thought for a minute they were going to kill him. They do destroy a trailer that is like slowly being backed up in a bit of humor as the cops go through there. I thought we were going to get a bit of a Trauma Cinemas like kid crush here, and I was a little bit happy that they didn't go there.
Oh, me too, and I'm just going to say it. I think they legitimately endangered that kid. Like, that was not a stunt kid.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
And just let a toddler go. I don't think I'm just saying, I don't know. But either way, the Knight Rider is feeling himself. But as we see in a minute, he is thoroughly outmatched by Mad Max. First, the dude folds in a game of chicken, swerving off to the side of the highway before driving away. And then he starts bawling his eyes out as Max closes the gap before eventually crashing into a roadblock and exploding. With the pursuit over and justice having been served, we finally get a look at young Mel Gibson, who surveys the wreckage after setting a world record for fastest time getting out of your car. Seriously, the crash happened and Mad Max is immediately running up to pose heroically. It was a very quick cut.
He didn't even stop it. He just did one of those moves where you open the door and jump out as the car slides by him.
That is not correct, but you might as well have.
In my
Literally.
mind, that's
Dude,
what it felt
they
like,
cut. He is just there.
Yeah, he is clearly showing that he's a badass here, right? He has caught and shamed this cop killer, and the cop killer dies in a large explosion.
Justified explosion, would you say?
I didn't write it down as a, like, there was no -1. I was
Okay.
not.
That means it's just to you. That
Yeah,
means it's justified.
it was justified.
'Cause
There
you'd
was-
be on it if
there was
for
no-
anyone joining us for
yeah.
the first time. Noel hates when cars explode too easily. Someone shoots a car and it blows up. This fucking guy loses his mind.
Yeah.
Can't stand it.
This felt like it was appropriate. And now we know that Mel has taken out the Knight Rider. And the Knight Rider had been calling out for Toe Cutter, the guy we introduced earlier. So we
Yeah.
know he's a part of the gang. We know that this isn't going to go away immediately. In fact, we know that this is setting the stakes for the movie.
Yeah, I will admit, I did not realize the Knight Rider was going to be as important as he ended up being. I thought he was just some guy. Like, I thought this is just a standard, like, MFP pursuit of a criminal to let us know who Mad Max is, had no idea the waves, the reverberations that we're going to go through from this guy.
So you thought this
dying.
was just sort of like a Mel Gibson credibility moment.
Absolutely.
And it
turns
was.
out- it was, but it was
was.
also the other thing. So.
You know what else is a Mel Gibson credibility moment?
What's that?
Transitioning to the next night with him sitting at the dinner table, toddler on top of it, and his wife playing a saxophone for his enjoyment.
Okay, so you guys, I was going to get to that. But yes, that is by far the biggest laugh out loud moment in the movie for me. This is just an unbelievable sequence of events to me. He's there in a contemplative mood as he like nurses a drink in a dimly lit room. His child is playing beside him. And we can tell from the look on his face, he's really reflecting on the day's events and his job with the Maine Force Patrol. And they're conveying that with the musical choice here, or so I thought, because we are hearing this like noirish saxophone riff I assumed was non-diegetic, like it's just in the back. But then all of a sudden we cut to a shot of his wife playing the saxophone and I fucking lost my shit. Like I just popped so hard for that. And I had this thought too. Not a lot of ladies playing the saxophone, I feel.
Oh, you think it's
you
not?
ever seen a band where a lady's playing saxophone? It's always some dude with like weird hair and like an earring, like a dangly earring.
So you said we're keeping the ladies out of the like prominent sax roles.
Just I've never seen one. Maybe it's like an Australian thing.
My daughter is a saxophone player.
Fuck off.
She is.
You're lying to me.
I am not lying. She
This is the
plays
first
in the
I'm hearing
band.
about this.
Yeah, she plays the tenor sax in a band.
Come on.
No, I'm not joking to you. So
I
for
don't
me,
believe you.
ladies playing sax are not a shock.
No, you know what's not surprising is you trying to buck this stereotype. You're like, we're going to get you a saxophone. You're going to shatter the glass ceiling.
Well, it's also so that I can learn Careless Whisper and just play it. When it's at home,
love it.
I goof around on it. And
Love
play
it.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying
It's
to
a
do.
great lick.
Yeah.
But no, this was ridiculous.
I laughed so
Came out of-
hard.
Same.
It was such a shocking moment because just like you, I assumed this was background.
It's just
music.
soundtrack,
I
yeah.
assumed it
Nope.
was setting mood, but it was not. She was setting the mood.
She was just fucking giving her on that saxophone.
she was going
Goddamn.
hard on it.
Oh, that was funny.
And so I laughed really hard. They transition to some tender moments and insinuate some lovemaking.
Yeah, a little bit. But the next day, it's back to work for Mad Max, as he's been summoned to the headquarters early, much to the chagrin of his wife. Nobody will tell him why, but when he arrives, he's excitedly greeted by the Force Patrol mechanic, who gleefully fires up a custom-built car with a supercharged V8 engine. The last of the V8s, he says. And after taking it all in, Max just has one question. When do we go for a ride? This is music to the ears of his captain, who is listening to the exchange via walkie-talkie, and what we can quickly discern from his conversation with the visiting police commissioner is that this was all a part of a plan to keep Mel Gibson on the force.
I think we've got him.
I hope so.
Yeah, we've got him.
Our top pursuit man wants to quit the road, and we have to seduce him with candy.
Stand by.
People don't believe in heroes anymore.
I know, McAfee, you want to give them back their heroes.
That car is my hero. Did you see that thing? Also, Mad Max's boss is coming in real hot here with the fashion choices.
Holy, there's a lot happening here. Mel Gibson wakes up and dons just a pair of leather pants.
Leather's a recurring theme, but with a fucking police captain, all that dude wears is leather.
He in this guy's wearing full leathers, like
Gay
the police
icon.
Yeah,
I'm just
oh,
gonna
yeah.
say it.
Yeah,
This
he is.
dude, he
Yeah.
is a leather man of the highest order.
Absolutely, he is.
Give the guy in the Village People a run for his money.
Mel's going to work and his wife's not happy, though.
Yeah.
Particularly because of what happened the night before. And he does kind of want to get out. But like you said, he's a huge gearhead. He is in love with the fast
He
cars.
feels the need for speed.
Absolutely. And so when they gift him this new road machine, he is pretty turned on by it. And they're about to go for a rip. Oh, you can see the erection through those leather pants.
Oh, come on.
Oh, absolutely.
That's why they wore it, because it hides it.
Whoa, it just holds it down?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
The thick cowhide and also the black color, you can't really notice.
Yeah,
you
it's
don't
harder
see
to see shadows on, your dong does not display as much of the erection.
If he was wearing gray sweatpants, they have to make this NC-17.
He would just tuck.
The belt tuck?
Yeah, oh yeah, that would be a belt tuck. That's the best thing about track pants.
Let me get on this topic.
So he's got this awesome car. They're talking about wanting to keep him here, right? But is that going to keep him? Is he going to stay? Like, is the car enough to keep him as a part of this?
It seems to be for now, but in addition to this bold sense of style, Mel Gibson's boss also delivers a warning. Apparently, the Knight Rider's crew is out to get Mad Max after he took out their boy the other day. Max brushes it off as just another in a long line of threats, but the next day at some small outpost, we see that these guys are not fucking around. In addition to looking tough, we find out they aren't afraid to get creepy, as after the owner of this outpost takes them to the Knight Rider's coffin and calls him a poor bastard, their leader whips around and weirdly puts his fingertips in the guy's face before sternly admonishing him.
The Knight Rider. That is his name.
The Knight Rider.
Remember him when you look at the night sky.
I will.
So what'd you think of our introduction to the toe cutter here, Noel? This guy fucking odd enough for you or what?
He's a lot.
The hair, the leather jacket, the eyeshadow.
It's more his disposition.
The fingertips thing was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're trying to create him as a menacing character, and they've chosen to do it by making him like
Off. He's just
overbearing
off.
and
Yeah.
off, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what they've done. It is effective. Like if you don't have a ton of budget and you don't have like a big actor, give him like a weird kookiness that's going to make people strange.
Yeah.
But this is where when the gang rolls in and they come to this small town, it just feels like this is more of a one man against a large gang kind of story.
Which is a very familiar genre.
Yeah, we've watched movies this year that almost feel right.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what this felt like to me, and this is obviously a speed demon version of that. Like the roads are such an important part of it in this. That's why like that's Fury Road and all of those other things come later, right?
Yeah.
Like the driving parts of it are so key to it. But
And those movies, once they had more budget, the dystopian part really is ramped up. Like, I agree with you. This just feels like your standard, like, biker gang rolling into a town movie.
Yeah.
And we've got that here with the toe cutter and his group of guys.
Yeah. And so they're acting rough, right? They're doing wheelies and they're making a mess. They're dragging a local around and kissing people, right? Like it's sort of like we're getting
standard biker gang stuff.
We're getting some of that, right? They do go and make sure the body of their old friend is respected. Some kids see this and they kind of try to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, presumably they're driving off to contact the police. What they see is Toe Cutter's gang throw a guy through a plate glass window. And this is when they leave. But yes, the gang chases them down, perhaps fearing reprisal, smashes their car and assaults them in pretty much all the ways you could imagine. At least that's what we have to infer by the way they're being manhandled as we dissolve to our next scene. Not to mention the fact that next time we see the guy in the couple who is driving, he is desperately running through a field naked from the waist down. Like, we don't see anything they did to him, thank God, but I'm pretty sure he's had a rough afternoon. Did his gait look different to you, or walking a little bit funny?
Yeah. They clearly rape both of them.
You can tell they're going to with the girl. They get right on her, and it's physical.
They are doing a terrible job, these bikers, of acting. Same with the kids.
Well,
like it's bad. Like they're getting across the emotions we need them to feel, but you can tell that these
are amateurs.
Yeah. And that was like, this is one of the first scenes when they surround the car on their bikes and they start like smashing stuff, and then they get into the like physicality of the assault, that I'm like, oh God, this is
where it became clear to you that we're dealing with like an indie,
a
again, like
very
indie
indie production, right? Like that was where I was, and that was fine. It was just sort of like that set the bar for me.
Yeah, I already knew coming in this was a low budget affair, so I was not as shocked by you. Although, yes, some of the acting is very amateurish, and that will continue as we kind of go throughout here. But despite Max and his new partner Goose apprehending one of the gang members at the scene of the crime, we quickly learn that justice will not be served in this case, as nobody shows up to testify at the trial, so dude is free to go. And you know who is not all right with that? Goose. He absolutely loses his shit on the two lawyers who show up before throwing some punches at the gang member. The criminal still walks, though, but we can tell from the heated exchange they have at the end of this scene that this ain't over.
We know who you are, Bronze.
We'll see you on the road, Skag! We'll see you on the road like we saw the Night Rider!
We remember the Night Rider, and we know who you are!
So this character's name is Johnny the Boy, and I guess he's supposed to be a big deal, but I haven't really gotten that vibe from him so far. It would really help if we could get a scene of him acting unhinged, maybe outside with a mannequin or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. Can you make that happen?
Oh shit. Yeah, the way that they create the credibility for these like evil characters is certainly low budget. It also feels kind of 70s. Like it feels like it's generationally.
Well, it was the 70s.
Well, no, that's what I mean. But it feels really strange to me, and something that I don't understand, I think, because I didn't grow up in the 70s. The menacing nature of what these characters are doing and the things that they're doing are so out of place now that they just seem odd and not scary.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, we've talked about this a little bit before. Actually, we talked about the Hammer and like blaxploitation movies in the 70s and how we don't know if that world actually existed. I get a little bit of that from this. It's not meant to. It's supposed to be a future apocalyptic thing, but yeah, I certainly never encountered characters like this before in my life.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of things that are weird, this next scene is weird as shit. As Toe Cutter and his gang are at the beach goofing around with that mannequin I mentioned a second ago, not like in an overtly sexual way, though it's maybe implied, but I guess either way, the Toe Cutter does not like the idea of his guys getting attached to this thing, so he orders his right-hand man, Bubba, to kill it. Before he can, Johnny the Boy runs up and grabs a gun of his own, blasting this thing right back to Macy's or wherever the Australian equivalent of Macy's is. Bubba is unimpressed with Johnny the Boy, which matches some simmering tension we saw in an earlier scene, but the Toe Cutter certainly seems to have an affinity for him, as even after shoving a shotgun in Johnny the Boy's sweet, sweet mouth, his words, and telling him to keep it shut, the two of them wade off into the ocean arm in arm. Speaking of implied sexuality, these guys are going to do at least hand stuff, right?
I thought Dutch rudder, but
That's what I'm saying, is that's hand stuff.
Yeah, okay.
Same time.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I don't know if are they intending to make the evil characters be homosexual?
Oh, man. I didn't take that. Well, the Chief.
I know
my argument is the Chief is the gayest character in this movie. And I'm not saying like in a bad way. Like he presents in a way where I'm like, that dude is a king among men. And those men are having sex with that king.
Or he's having sex with them.
Hey, either way.
Yeah.
Everyone's using their...
I don't know. It was just something that came up to me as they were showing those characters and knowing some of Mel's feelings now. I know he didn't write this.
You think he was traumatized by seeing the Toe Cutter?
No. I was just wondering if he was like, if he had a stake in creating evil characters, you know where Mel would go with that. We were talking about blaxploitation earlier. The next one made me feel like we were hitting a blaxploitation film. What did we cut to?
Oh, The Cabaret.
Yeah. It's like, do all 70s films have these? Because I was like, we are here at the club performance.
Yeah, man. And the Sugarton Cabaret, it's called, where Goose, that motorcycle cop who is like, I guess, Max's partner now, who we also know enjoys a cocktail, because that's how we meet him first in movies at a bar, just like hammering drinks while his motorcycle's parked outside. He is unwinding and taking in a fairly sensual performance by a local lounge singer. The lyrics are filled with innuendo, something about taking her for a ride on the licorice road, and she ends her song by licking her lips suggestively while making deep, deep eye contact with the Goose, who rises out of his seat before also standing up. No, he knows that he's going to...
How would that work? This thing is like a...
Oh my God.
It's a lift.
It's a lift. It's a chair lift. No, he knows he's going to nail this lady. But what he does not know is that outside in the parking lot, Johnny the Boy is tampering with his motorcycle. Now that's going to be trouble the next morning. As the Goose slips out of that lady singer's apartment, we are just waiting for disaster to strike. And waiting and waiting and waiting. They really tease this one out.
They drag it out really long. Tons of shots of Goose riding through the countryside on his motorcycle as we're waiting for the bike to fail. It lasted so long that I was contemplating whether this movie was inspired by 60s and 70s motorcycle movies.
Open road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was like, is that what inspired this shit? It was like those kind of ideas of the Rebel on the Bike movie or the Travel on the Bike movie, because they wanted the shots. Like some of the best shots in this, some of the best cinematography are the road shots.
The point of view, some of them are like that. Yeah.
Right? And so it made me wonder if that was the inspiration for this whole thing.
I mean, it's confusing as fuck, whatever. Like, I thought the bike was going to explode the minute he turned it on. But instead, like you said, he's riding for like 5 minutes.
Forever. And then eventually something goes wrong and he slides off the road and crashes.
Yeah, it kind of like shudders and wobbles, and then he's into some tall grass.
He wrecks the bike, but he walks away.
Oh, yeah, that's the great news. He's going to be okay.
I'm so fucking confused. Yeah. They've set up this great crash and they've wrecked his bike. He walks away. Some guy picks him up in a truck.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, Goose was going to be okay before Johnny the Boy throws like a tire rim or something off a hill that smashes through the windshield of that truck from like 150 yards away. Makes no sense on earth, but it sends the truck crashing off to the side, and now Goose is trapped inside with fuel pouring out. Johnny the Boy is hesitant to finish the job, but Toe Cutter urges him on in no uncertain terms.
Do it for freedom and the night.
I can't.
Throw it.
No!
Scum-sucking trash. Throw it!
And he does, and we get absolutely zero explosion. Not even an explosion sound. Now I have several questions here. First, how the hell does Johnny the Boy know which hill to be on to throw that fucking rim? Like, we see him parked outside the apartment, but if he followed Goose, then why wait all that time after he crashes for him to call that truck or whatever, load his bike onto it, and start driving? Second question, how the fuck did he make that throw? He is so far away. It's a moving target. Just unbelievable. But my biggest question, you always get so upset when cars explode in movies. Does the fact that this truck didn't blow up mean you're giving this extra points for enjoyment?
Oh my God. Let's go back. The fact that they let him crash his bike and then wait for a truck to pick him up and help him and then like have a miraculous throw that like isn't even possible that takes him out. It was just absolutely so fucked up. I was upset at it. I just threw it into budget for no explosion.
Clearly, yes.
I definitely don't give it bonus points. I would have liked to have seen some explosion. I think it was like if you light a vehicle on fire, it's going to explode, right? If you pour in like a fuel on it and you light it on fire, it should probably explode. I thought it was a little bit poetic that Goose was getting cooked here. Like I thought that was.
Look at that.
Don't love to see that for Goose, obviously, but
he's an enjoyable character.
Yeah,
just drinking and banging singers.
Yeah, like he was out there living his life. Obviously, anytime someone is named Goose, it makes me think of Top Gun.
Yeah. And
right?
we covered Top Gun in this podcast, and I ate shit on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bad movie, and I was wrong.
Yeah, we fucked that one.
Yeah,
up.
no, not we. Yeah. Me again. Overarching theme.
But I think the partner in Top Gun might be an homage to this.
Ooh, okay, I can see that. Yeah.
Once a goose gets cooked, I assumed he was dead. I assume you get exploded in a truck, you're dead. But no, we're gonna cut next day to the hospital.
We are, but before then, here's another question I have. Why even bother with the bike tampering if it's not going to kill him? Like, that feels a little bit like padding to me, this whole sequence. If you're going to fucking javelin a tire rim through his car at 150 yards, just fucking do that.
I don't disagree, except for what hurts Mel more.
But you could still do all this. You don't need the motorcycle crash. That part is not necessary considering where we end up. And where we end up, like you said, is the hospital where Mad Max busts in there, blows right past the chief and a couple of the officers to see Goose, or what's left of him. And what's left of him is not in good shape. One of his charred hands slips out from beneath the sheet as a breathing machine chugs along in the background, but we're spared the full sight of his horrific remains. All we get to see is the pain in Mel Gibson's steely blue eyes as a wave of terror washes over his face. Literally, they do like a weird camera dissolve that combined with the music cue is super dramatic. Like, we are talking soap opera level drama here.
Yeah, this is a lot. They won't show him.
Budget again.
Because they can't do any of the practical effects, right? They don't show the explosion. They don't show any of the scarring.
Hand looked decent, but that face is a lot harder than a hand.
Oh, yeah, way harder. So we don't get that. And Mel can't accept it. That thing isn't Goose. No way, right? The character cannot accept it. We get that weird wave, like you said, and then we're going to get, like, some nightmares for Mel Gibson here. He's starting to get haunted by this. He should have got out when he had that opportunity, but the road brought him back in, right? The gearhead in him kept him there. He needs to take care of that. He needs to get back on that road. He needs to be speeding through those streets.
You said it, man. Mad Max is thoroughly rattled as he leaves the hospital. And that continues at home as he bolts up in the middle of the night, no doubt from a terrible, terrible dream relating to whatever he saw in that hospital bed. The next morning, he stares out at the ocean a shaken man, and after an emotional conversation with his wife, he marches into the main Force Patrol headquarters to tender his resignation. His chief doesn't like that and gives him a rah-rah speech with equally appropriate music playing in the background.
They say people don't believe in heroes anymore. Well, damn them! You and me, Max. We're gonna give them back to heroes. Do you really expect me to go for that crap? You gotta admit, I sound good there for a minute, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, he did, man. Dude was like Vince Lombardi. This would not have been even a little bit out of place in a Hollywood sports movie. You know, except for all those Leatherman vibes.
Oh, I'm actually struggling with Mel's performance in this scene.
Okay.
I thought that the captain does a good job here, but Mel's emotional reaction and the like, I'm scared, I'm turning into one of them, does not pull it off here.
It's not his best scene, for sure.
No, I don't love him in this scene. What I'm surprised about, or what I thought was going to happen, is that he would have returned home that evening to find his family dead. I thought they were going to make it so there was no way he could get out.
I mean, that is where we end up eventually. But before then, the chief has one last play to keep him on board. He suggests that Max take some time off, go on a little vacation, grow a beard. And if he still feels that way after a couple weeks, no problem. So it's time for a brief montage of Max, his wife Jessie, and their kid just relaxing in the post-apocalyptic Australian countryside. Mad Max is really settling into domestic life here, as evidenced by the button-down khaki look Mel Gibson is rocking when he pulls into an auto shop to get their spare tire fixed. It's going to take a minute, so his wife decides to take their little kid off to get some ice cream at a shop down by the beach. Max looks nervous as they drive away, and we see in a minute that he's got good reason to be, as Toe Cutter's gang just happens to be on that same beach, and they spot Mrs. Max heading into the store.
Look what's turned up for Sunday dinner.
Main course and dessert.
My favorite kind. Female.
Now, what are the chances they'd be there? That's just bad luck.
Holy shit. There's a lot that happens here. You described a montage. This montage is them getting a dog, playing in a field of grass, rope swinging into water. All of this happening while their child is nowhere to be seen. I was like, the parenting in this movie is so weird. I'm worried about this kid, but he does appear in that carpeted station wagon at some point. I love that it's a carpeted station wagon that he's driving here, though, for the family. Where's the cool-ass car?
He's domestic now.
He's
Look what he's fucking wearing. The leather's gone.
Yeah, it's true. The leather is gone. He's there. So ridiculous that the gang is at the ice cream parlor.
Get used to that.
How unlucky can they be?
Always just in the right spot at the right time.
They harass her, of course, but she's going to knee the toe cutter in the balls and get away here for a moment.
Yes, although I guess they're going to be leaving that spare tire behind. Because she goes right back to the mechanic, Mel Gibson jumps in and they drive off. They do get a severed hand in trade, though, as one of Toe Cutter's goons tries to latch onto their car with a chain and instead gets it ripped off his body. We don't find that out until they're safely out of the woods, or into the woods, I guess, at a different location. But the local sheriff assures them that it's no problem. This thing is over, and the gang definitely won't be bothering them again. Now, we've got half an hour of movie left, so I don't believe him. But apparently Mad Max is a more confident man than I, as the next day he lets his wife go walking down to the beach alone again, albeit at a different location. And sure enough, as soon as she gets in the water, we hear the familiar rumble of motorcycles. Now, you could argue the chance of Toe Cutter's gang finding them again this quickly are virtually zero, and I would indeed argue that, but either way, just a terrible job by Max. This lady should not be going anywhere by herself.
This sequence is strange to me. Like, we're taking weird turns here in this 2-week vacation from the Force. We're an hour into this movie, and I'm confused about where we're going, right? Like, how are we going to get the revenge? How is this going to end? What is clear is that the woman, his wife, wants to go to the beach, and she wants Mel to go with her. She wants to go in the sand. That's what it appears like to me. But like you said, unfortunately for her, Mel's not interested. He's got to fix the car. He's more interested in playing with his lug nuts than touching her.
Oh my goodness.
The thing that's confusing here is they're on a farm that's near a beach, but to go to the beach, you have to walk through the woods.
Yeah.
And we know that that's going to go strange.
Well, it goes strange when she's on her way back, and we get a chase scene through those woods, which it seems like she gets out of. Mrs. Max is out of danger, but after her husband runs into the woods with a shotgun, she realizes that she can't hear her baby anymore. Turns out the Toe Cutter's got him, and if it weren't for the old lady her and Max are renting this cottage from showing up with a shotgun of her own, that would be the end of them. The old woman manages to force Toe Cutter and his crew into a barn so Jessie and her child can escape, but it doesn't take long for the gang to bust out of there and chase after the two of them on their motorcycles. The tension is palpable here as the family's car breaks down with Toe Cutter's crew bearing down on them. Jesse grabs the kid and tries to make a run for it, but they quickly catch up with engines revving, and the whole sequence ends with a great shot of a single child's shoe and the ball the kid was playing with landing on the road as motorcycles fly by. Really nice touch there, I thought, and it all gets punctuated with Mel Gibson frantically running towards the two of them, desperately hoping not to find what we know he's going to. Man, the director really blew his load here, huh?
This is a long sequence.
But it's a good one, though.
So,
well, sorry, the end of it is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of confusing and misplayed sequences, particularly when they're in the woods. There's like a dead dog built up in there. There's
this weird hillbilly
Texas Chainsaw vibes. Like, literally giving me Texas Chainsaw vibes for a chunk of it. Until we get on that escape in the station wagon. And then when the station wagon dies, they run out on the road. Like you said, the thing that saves this is a very, very well cut shot of the motorcycles blowing by the child and the mother.
And the ball just bouncing on the thing, man.
Clearly
Shit.
killing
Haunting.
both of them. It's good. Mel's Batman now. That was his Batman moment, right? Like, that was the moment that there is no coming back from. He is now going to just seek vengeance. He is no longer worried about being an officer of the law. He is going to take vengeance on the people that have killed his family.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of blowing things, after a brief gear-up montage where we see Mad Max's furious resolve, Mel Gibson returns to a familiar auto shop to get information on the Toe Cutters gang so he can blow them away. After leaning on the mechanic, he finds out that the gang should be returning to get their bikes later that day, so the hunt is on. Mad Max narrowly misses Johnny the Boy on a bridge, although he does manage to wipe out 4 or 5 other gang members, one of whom gets thrown from his bike then eats a wheel in the back of the head, which is pretty cool, but I'm not sure intentional. That looked like it just happened and they got it on film. Either way, Max is closing in, so Toe Cutter scrambles the rest of the gang and we get a bit of a cat and mouse game. He spots a motorcycle on its side in a field with a body beside it. So he gets out of his car to investigate, but it turns out this has all been a carefully orchestrated ambush by the Toe Cutter himself. Max gets shot in the leg, and while he's lying there reaching for his gun, they run over his arm. That was gnarly. It is not looking good for Mel Gibson here, but inexplicably they don't finish him off right away. Toe Cutter knows this is a bad idea as he tells his right-hand man,
Quit toying, Bubba!
Easy. I know what I'm doing.
Right after saying that, dude drives straight towards Mad Max, who has clearly recovered his gun and gets blown off his motorcycle with a shot dead center mass. Nailed it.
Yeah, Bubba plays for his hubris here as Max, despite being in this very compromised situation, is able to spin around in time and kill him. Although this shot through the leg is pretty gnarly, he's in really bad shape here, and the ride over his arm was
good, man.
Good. Yeah. We're going to get an epic effort now for Mad Max for him to get to his car. He's been shot through the leg, his arm has been ridden over, and he's got to get his ass up so that he can go after Junior and Toe Cutter, because right now they're getting away. They don't try to take on Max when he's in this injured state. They try to flee. We get this. I think this shot is kind of iconic. Like, I feel like this has been referenced and shown in other spots. This shot of him limping towards the car after that maximum effort of him getting up. This is the one shot, like, I've never seen this movie felt like it has been used or is in, like, our culture or in movies because of this.
I have definitely seen this before, which, again, I didn't realize till I saw it here in the movie. But yeah, I would certainly believe that it's an iconic shot because it has that kind of gravitas to it. Now, you mentioned that Johnny and the Toe Cutter take off. You did mention they go different directions. Like, Johnny the Boy hastily drives away, assuming, rightly so, that Mad Max will go after the Toe Cutter first, which he does, getting closer and closer to the gang leader's motorcycle before forcing it into an oncoming truck. We get another great shot here. This one of the Toe Cutter's eyes getting bigger and bigger as we cut back and forth between him and the truck until the thing just obliterates him, smashing the motorcycle to bits and dragging his body under the wheels. God damn, they really went all the way with that one, and the crowd goes wild.
Oh my goodness. The eye bulge I had in capitals here.
Great, man.
The face he has. I didn't understand how Mel Gibson got out of the way, though. Like, he was right on top of it, but manages to not get hit by that too. But of course, he's out of the way. Then we transition to an interesting shot. The dotted line. The like kind of noir drive of just the dark highway with the line coming on felt like a David Cronenberg moment for me.
Okay, yeah, with Bubba and the toe cutter out of the way, that just leaves the one target, and Max is driving for seemingly hours through rain and darkness. It's the point of view shot of the road, which we'll get again later. But as he's doing this, we know that he will never stop pursuing Johnny the boy. And because the events of this movie are all apparently happening within a 100-mile radius, we also know that it will not take him long to find him. And sure enough, the next morning, there's Johnny's bike once again on the side of the road. No ambush this time, though, just Johnny trying to lift the boots off some guy whose truck crashed. Max catches him in the act and handcuffs his leg to the truck, which I should note is leaking fuel just like Goose's was earlier, before setting up an elaborate fuse involving a broken headlight and cigarette lighter. Johnny is freaking out here, saying that he's sick, and Max can't kill him for stealing boots, and demanding to know what's going to happen. And he gets his answer when Max calmly walks up and drops a hacksaw beside him.
The chain in those handcuffs is high tensile steel. It'll take you 10 minutes to hack through it with this. Now, if you're lucky, you can hack through your ankle in 5 minutes. Go.
Max gets into his car and drives away, and it takes a lot less than 5 minutes for us to get an explosion that signals the end of Johnny the boy. And you know who's absolutely fine with that? Cooper the man. I did not care for this character.
No, you were kind of hoping he got what he deserved. That's a real fucking dark way to end that character, though. That boy really fucking bit it hard here. I assume he was halfway through hacking off his leg.
I was going to say sawing for your life through your own ankle. That's no good.
Yeah, we didn't see an explosion again, though, did we? Or I felt like
we see it.
Okay, but the music,
and we hear it.
The music is kind of telling us what's happening here, right? The music is telling us that he's done. We get a really dramatic road shot, and then we're about to head into the credits with some calm saxophone music.
Yeah, man, the saxophone is back. Perhaps his wife playing from heaven, just usher us into the credits and an uncertain future. Like, who knows what the future holds for Mad Max?
Yeah.
Well, we know, of course, more killing bad guys and eventually the Thunderdome. But that's a story for another day. Yeah, man, we're into it.
Oh, wow. So interesting. It was not at all what I expected when I stepped into it. I mean, it was, in that it was a bit of a like road vigilante movie.
Yeah.
But it just took place in a different world. The bad guys were different than I expected, and a lot of the decisions in filmmaking were different than I thought going in. I had no idea that this was sort of like an indie Australian film, which I thought was pretty cool. I was excited to do that. So obviously, thank you for the request.
Yeah, Ms. Vividly Foxy on Instagram. Really interesting look. Something that we don't see kind of every day, because probably it is an independent film, one guy's vision from a different country where perhaps the sensibility is different from our own. But interesting as shit, man. And I'm really curious to hear where you land on like a bad, enjoyable perspective. So why don't we transition to our ratings now? The way we always do this, we rate the movie out of 10 two times, 1 out of 10 for how bad it is, 1 out of 10 for how enjoyable. And the goal is to find movies that are 10 out of 10 on both scales, or what we call the Crit 20. And for me, this was a really tough one to rate for how bad it was. Like, clearly they are working with a low budget, so they had to get creative with some of the staging and effects and stuff. And they did, so I can't ding them too much for that. But at the same time, some of the stuff was a little bit laughable or like on the nose. I definitely thought there was some padding, and the pace was weird. Like, there's long stretches where just nothing's really happening. And I know some of that is meant to establish character, which I do appreciate. But this probably could have been trimmed down a bit more, although at that point, who knows how long this thing would end up being, like 71 minutes or some shit. I don't know. For the most part, though, the performances are pretty good. Like, I thought all of Toe Cutter's gang was solid, minus Johnny the boy. The Jesse character for me was just fine. Goose was good, and I will just say it, Mel Gibson was great. Like, for me, I thought he did a really good job in this. Really, the only performances I thought were subpar were some of the characters in the periphery. But overall, I don't know. I had this as an interesting movie that had decent action in places and a couple of really good shots. So I only had this as a 6 bad. How about you?
Wow. Okay. So I think maybe my expectations based on what this became was different than yours, I guess, because I actually thought the acting overall was quite bad.
Oh,
I didn't think Mel was great in this.
I thought he was great.
No, I
enjoyed
did
it
not.
very much.
I did not see where watching this he could have turned into.
Well, that's what I asked you at the start. Yeah.
No, I don't see that. I did not like the performances of the gang.
Toe Cutter?
No, I
he was disturbing like he was supposed to be.
I like Goose. I like the captain.
I did not mention the captain. The
yeah,
captain
I
was
like
good.
the captain. I thought he was good. I thought Mel had good and bad moments. I thought when he tried to play dramatic, it was not good. When he played mad, he was good. If that makes sense. Angry Mel was good. Sad or like upset Mel, not good. I thought that the music and sound effects were kind of overdone at times.
Little on the nose. Some of it. Yeah.
I thought
But that saxophone though.
I love that. I love that. If that's going to
That'd
my
be enjoyable,
enjoyment.
yeah.
That's in my enjoyment.
Yeah.
For me, the overall feeling of bad for this movie in terms of quality of production, acting, story, pace, I like you said, I thought was really weird and off. Like, I think the last 20 minutes of the movie are the best parts by a lot.
Oh, yeah,
like
for sure.
not even close.
But
this
you know
thing
what?
would have been.
But when you describe this as like those biker game movies, that's always the best part is the last few minutes. When
But
the guy
I thought
gets
the
the
first
revenge on
10
them.
minutes were good.
Oh.
And then I thought like there was a very long meandering 40. Like I feel like we went
Yeah.
10 and then a 40 that could have been way better.
You could tighten it up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get like a good ending in there. I don't know. I struggled with that.
So overall,
I had it as an 8 bad.
Okay. Yeah. That's fair.
8.
But how enjoyable did you find on a scale of 1 to 10?
I liked the chase and road scenes. I thought they were a good pace. Like I thought the tempo of the action was good. I thought when we weren't in action was where the struggle was. So I actually really liked the action. I thought the effects for their budget were really, really well done.
Nice.
Like I really liked the effects. I really liked the camera angles of all of the chases, and there was some interesting cinematography. There was like shots from Crow's perspective and like other things in there that I really liked. I laughed at some of the cheesiness, but that also added to my like enjoyability.
Of course.
It actually felt kind of trauma adjacent. Like some of the choices felt like they were being intentionally cheesy or graphic.
I could be budget.
Yeah.
I think, because I know what you mean. Like, we watched Chopper Chicks in Zombie Town.
Yeah.
And I would believe that was filmed in the exact same locations that this was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say that as an enjoyability plus, not one that I would expect it to turn into like the kind of Hollywood franchise that it did.
Right.
Which I guess is cool. Like the fact that this thing went from something that I felt was kind of like low budget indie to like a bigger blockbuster, and that the star of it became a movie star, I think is interesting. But my enjoyability is actually the exact same as my bad. It was an 8.
That's a pretty decent score.
I liked it. Like I wasn't unhappy I watched it. It's not long, and I thought there was some really good and engaging parts to it. I just thought there was a lot of lost material in the middle that could have pulled it up for me to make it better.
Cool, man.
What about you?
So I enjoyed the action, although some of it was brief and we didn't get some of the payoff I was hoping for from an effect standpoint, which you obviously chalk up to the low budget, but it did cause me to enjoy this one a little bit less. As I mentioned, I thought Mel Gibson was good, although the domestic parts with him were a bit long for my taste. Like the pace, again, not great for my bad rating, and it'll come up again here. I like the Chief. I am not sure why the actor and director made some of the choices they did there, but every time he showed up, I was definitely paying attention to see what would happen.
You are a fan of leather daddies.
I am a big fan. Yeah, Dad likes leather. This was a fun movie, like definitely a couple parts that were hard to watch, either from a production or an emotional standpoint. You mentioned the kids in the road, and I agree. So kind of both ends of the spectrum there. But like overall, I'm glad I finally got to see it. I am now looking forward to rewatching The Road Warrior and Beyond Thunderdome. I also had this as Nate enjoyable.
Hey.
Yeah, man. Good stuff.
Close in here.
Yeah, not bad. So thank you again, Ms. Vividly Foxy on Instagram, for recommending this. I had a fun time and I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't have watched this without the podcast, so I definitely appreciate the request. Makes me think about the new movies a little bit differently, and I don't think I have seen any of the Mel Gibson follow-ups.
You haven't seen Beyond Thunderdome with Tina Turner and all those
No, little people.
Well, sorry, maybe it's just one. I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's more than
I
zero.
have not seen it. So is it something that we should be watching? Maybe not for the
100%.
podcast, but
we
together
know for the podcast.
Okay, yeah, all right.
If we find another beer that has thunder in the title, we can absolutely throw that one down. So
Okay, sounds
we'll do it, man.
good.
Hey,
Yeah.
speaking of beers and throwing them down, how'd you feel about this Full Beard Brewing Aussie AAA?
I liked it. Felt kind of like a traditional ale at the start. Had a more caramely, malty flavor, and then finished with a bit of a hoppier finish, like more so than a traditional blonde, I would say.
Yeah, this to me was not a traditional blonde at all. Like you said, it came in maltier. It was darker on the pour than I expected.
Yeah.
Maltier than I expected. Yeah, definitely an ale that I think hit some interesting notes. Kind of a unique combination of like the malt and hops and the bitterness. That
I think
I've not
the
had
malt
before.
definitely takes the
Foreground?
Yeah, I like that language. The foreground of this, and it just adds the Aussie hops adds a little bit of bitterness to it, or slightly bitter. But the Aussie hops also tend to fall more on those citrus areas, like
A little mild.
yeah,
Not quite
yeah,
as
they're
bitter,
not
not as-
aggressive
yeah.
and yeah. So I think that it's sort of a nice subtle Aussie ale. I'm curious to see if people in Canada are making other Aussie ales, or if this
I've
is just
never
like,
heard of it before.
No, or if this
Yeah.
is like something that people are a style that is even in Australia. Like I wonder if people in Australia are drinking them and considering them. They would just be calling them ales, I guess. But
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, maybe the people at Full Beard just dreamed this up, but I'm glad they did because, yeah, interesting beer, not like anything I have tasted before. And I would strongly recommend if you can get your hands on an Aussie.
AAA.
Yeah,
Do
do
it.
it. Because if I was giving this a grade and a report card, it would be AAA.
Ah,
Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
God damn it. We're going to end this on a
Starts all
super
those
fucking
Aussies
cheesy
too,
note.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No, let's talk about what we're going to be doing 2 weeks from today. We had this is a fucking great connection because 2 weeks from today, we have another audience request. We're going back to back on this. And this was requested by an Australian.
what?
Yes, a lady from Australia. Also our second lady in a row requesting a movie.
Okay.
That's
cool.
The first two we've ever heard of listening to our podcast.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like the immaturity of our podcast would lend itself more to a male audience, but I'm happy to hear there are ladies listening
That enjoy dick jokes.
or movies.
A lot
at
of
least.
jokes in
Yeah,
it, yeah.
yeah.
No, man. This lady has requested a movie that I know you are fond of. 2 weeks from today, we're going to be talking about Congo.
What?
The
Michael Crichton?
That's right.
Amazing
Killer
movie
apes.
about gorillas.
Amazing, I think, is perhaps a strong use of the term.
You know what? I'm really excited. Congo was a movie I thought very highly of as a
I am aware of
child
this,
growing
yes,
up, and I'm looking forward to watching this.
I'm looking forward to you having to watch it now, decades later, to see if it really still holds
This
up.
better not be a Killer
I do
Clowns.
not have
This
fond
better not
memories
be
of
a Killer
Congo.
Clowns.
No, but we'll find
situation
out
here.
together 2 weeks from today. Before then, if you have not already, please follow us on social media at the BMB Podcast on Twitter and Instagram.
Send us emails, thebmbpodcast@gmail.com.
Absolutely. We always love to hear from you. And we appreciate Ms. Vividly Foxy for reaching out today. Not today. She didn't fucking reach out today. She reached out maybe like years
Months
ago.
yeah.
It takes a while usually for us to turn on this
We're a
request, but-
little slow. We would love some more female listener requests, by the way.
Absolutely. You want us to cover fucking 16 candles or some shit? Let's do it. I don't know.
Why did you pick
Trying to pick a movie for the ladies. No, we appreciate you, Ms. Vividly Foxy, and everyone else who's listening. Send us requests. We love to hear them. We thank you for joining us today for Mad Max. We hope to see you back here in 2 weeks' time for Congo. Until then, I'm Cooper.
And I'm Nolan.
And we'll see you next time on Bad Movies and Beer.
Keep the pedal to the metal.
The last law in a world gone out of control.